Arknights!
Arene is a 4-star Lord Guard. He released during the Rewinding Breeze event alongside Surtur, April, and Mint in the Unfettered Magma banner, but is now available through headhunting and recruitment using the tags Melee, DPS, and Guard. Arene has 6 months of combat experience, likely due to him being born and raised in Laterano and their firearms programs. He stands at 161 centimeters tall, was born on the 7th of September in Laterano, and is of the Sancta race. In his archive files and promotion record, it's noted that Laterano law contains strict, detailed regulations for citizens who contract oropathy, allowing them to retain their full citizenship rights while typically requiring them to leave Laterano territory permanently. Though this policy is considered lenient compared to the harsh treatment the infected face in many other nations, it still means that those affected must forever leave behind the homeland they grew up in, a prospect many Lateranos find unbearable. Operator Arene is one such citizen, having contracted oropathy and gone on to spend years studying in Lithuanian on his own initiative. As a result, the hometown he can no longer return to has likely long since faded into a distant memory for him. Most people tend to assume that the Sancta and their firearms are inseparable, with those unable to carry guns typically opting for other long-range weapons such as bows. Operator Arene, however, stands as a notable exception among the Sancta at Rhodes Island, foregoing firearms entirely in favor of Originum arts as his primary means of attack. His arts are characterized by toxic, disintegrative, and corrosive properties, leading him to keep his distance from crowds to minimize unnecessary risk, and much like the impression others tend to have of Arene himself, his arts strike people as beautiful yet dangerous and amicable yet reclusive. Due to his frequent use of these arts, Arene typically carries a faint aromatic fragrance on his person, the effects of which he can control at will, rendering it completely harmless or dangerously toxic depending on the situation. When Arene arrived at Rhodes Island, he was escorted by a Notarial Hall executor and colleague of Operator Executor, who relayed that Arene's parents had been highly respected Laterano firearms researchers frequently entangled in firearm-related incidents, ultimately losing their lives in a clandestine operation to steal Laterano firearms technology. His parents had sent him to Lithuanian years prior upon his oropathy diagnosis to keep him out of danger, and their will left behind little for him, as their only wish had always been for their son to live peacefully rather than continuing their work. Having grown up largely alone while his parents devoted themselves to their research, the young Arene came to resent the guns that monopolized their attention, a resentment that, combined with his subsequent infection, left him without any desire or opportunity to ever carry a firearm of his own. Having left Laterano at an early age, Arene tends to be somewhat reserved around other Laterano operators at Rhodes Island, instead gravitating towards those from Lithuanian, including Operator Eafiala, with whom he shares a history as a former classmate under the same university professor. When Arene first joined Rhodes Island, his nonchalant and unrestrained attitude, likely shaped by his upbringing, was initially tolerated without much concern, as the organization was already well acquainted with operators of all manner of personalities. That perspective shifted, however, when he returned from an operation with an enemy combatant in tow and half-jokingly proposed using the man to practice new Originum arts, making it clear that leaving him to his own devices entirely was not a viable approach. The young Sancta is in clear need of proper guidance and instruction, provided in a way that is engaging enough to hold his interest. Arene is confirmed to be infected. He has a cell originum assimilation of 5% and a blood originum crystal density of 0.23 parts per liter. The notes in his medical file state that there are other small traces of infection visible on his body, and that due to his long-term oropathy treatment, his infection is very controlled. In his character art, drawn by Umo YSZX, Arene wears a high-collared white shirt with black cuff around the neck and a small belt beneath the neck, a black triple-breasted jacket with short sleeves and 9 buttons, a large white belt with silver buckle and small light green belt hanging off of that, latex elbow gloves with green stripes on the outside of the palm, latex short shorts, and black thigh-high latex boots with silver garter straps and ornaments near the sole of the boot. He holds his weapon of choice, a cane with a large spike ball at the end, in his right hand. In his voice lines, voiced by Yoshisugu Matsuoka, who also voices Fried Selzen in High School DD, Kirito in Sword Art Online, Kade Makabe in Oremo, Masaki Ichijo in Regular at Magic School, Sora in No Game No Life, Lubbock in Akame ga Kill, Bell Cranel in Danmachi, Soma Yukihira in Food Wars, Teruki Hanazawa and Hikaru Tokugawa in Mob 100, Futaro Usugi in Quintessential Quintuplets, Inosuke Hashibira in Demon Slayer, Vash the Stampede in Trigun Stampede, Law in Tales of Arise, Balder in Grand Blue Fantasy, Therion in Octopath Traveler, and Zhao in Genshin. Arene often wants to take things easy and do things his own way.
ファイルの整理は終わったよ。今日はもう他にやることないよね。じゃあ、この間の作戦について話そうよ。先生、寝てるの？仕事中に居眠りすると、顔に落書きされるよ。冗談だよ。起きてるって知ってたから。はい、これあげる。多分お菓子か何かかな。礼はいいよ。もらい物だし。僕は興味ないから。両親の遺言にちょっと厄介な内容があって、解決には骨が折れたよ。あの融通の利かない執行人がややこしくしてなければ、もっと順調に進んだんだけど。まあいいや。そうは言っても、まだ計画通りだから。今回の作戦で、何人か捕まえて、僕の鎮圧を試してみたいんだけど。ダメ？あっそう、わかったよ。残念だけど、先生がダメって言うなら、今回はやめとく。え？今回だけじゃなくて、今後もダメ？厳しいな、先生。
At E2 level 70 with max trust, potential, and module, Arene has 2,435 HP, 758 attack, 340 defense, 10 resistance, 2 block, a 66-second redeploy time, 16 DP cost, and has a 1.3 second attack speed. His range looks like a penis. At max trust, he gains plus 55 attack. At max pot, he gets minus 2 DP cost, plus 18 attack, minus 4 seconds to redeploy, and a buff to his talent. His talent, Structural Decomposition, at E2 Pot 4, makes it so that Arene prioritizes attacking drones, and he gets plus 43% attack when attacking drones. Arene has 2 base skills, with one being upgraded and the other unlocked at E1. His first base skill, Waste Not Want Not, is upgraded to Everyone Does Their Part at E1, which makes it so that when Arene is assigned to the workshop to process elite materials, the byproduct rate is increased by plus 5% for every one operator with 20 or less morale in the dorms. His second base skill, Searching for Solitude, makes it so that when he's assigned to a dorm, he increases his own morale restored per hour by plus 0.7. If there's other ops in the same dorm, his own morale recovery is further increased by plus 0.05 for each additional operator present. Arene's first skill, Just Kidding, gains SP over time and is manually triggered, with all levels lasting for 15 seconds. Level 7 starts with 10 SP and needs 31 SP to proc, while M3 starts with 15 SP and needs 25 SP to proc. At level 7, Arene stops blocking enemies and his attacks hit twice and deal 130% of his attack as physical damage each. At M3, it's 150% attack as physical damage. His second skill, Deadly Prank, gains SP over time and is manually triggered. Level 7 starts with 10 SP, needs 35 SP to proc, and lasts for 20 seconds, while M3 starts with 15 SP, needs 30 SP to proc, and also lasts for 20 seconds. At level 7, Arene's range expands and his ranged attacks no longer deal 80% of his attack. Each attack deals 140% of his attack as arts damage and targets an additional foe. At M3, it's 160% of his attack as arts damage. Arene has a LOR-Y module named the Book of Arene, which makes it so that he gains plus 12 attack speed when there are 2 or more foes in his range. At module level 3, structural decomposition is fully upgraded, making it so that Arene has plus 58% attack when attacking drone enemies. He also gains plus 185 HP and plus 45 attack. To unlock and fully upgrade this module, you must have Arene at E2 level 40, have 100 trust with him, have your own Arene uses S2 at least once across 5 battles, 3 stars stage 2-8, deploying your own Arene and not having any sniper ops in your squad, and have 3 module data blocks, 15 data patching strips, 5 data patching devices, 4 Auroron clusters, 5 transmuted salts, 6 RMA 70-12s, and 75,000 LMD. I don't really know how to label Arene, outside of confused marksman sniper like Glaucius, since his talent makes him prioritize shooting down drones while they're in his range. Sure, this can be helpful in drone-heavy stages, especially considering that he deals more damage against drones, his S1 hit foes twice, and his S2 extends his range, hits up to 2 foes, and deals arts damage. But at the same time, why not just use a standard marksman sniper to deal with the drones? They prioritize aerial enemies regardless, it's built into their subclass. There's plenty of decent choices out there as well, from 6 stars like Excusii, to 5 stars like Blue Poison, to 4 stars like May. Not to mention, his S1 stops him from blocking, practically regulating him to be behind another operator, just to not leak any enemies. But I guess if you absolutely need a guard who also hits drones, and don't have thorns with his S3, Arene is a good choice. Medium-low priority to raise. Thank you for watching. Please follow my Twitter and Blue Sky for updates, and please check out my other Azure Lane and Uma Musume videos as well. Come back tomorrow for next week's character teasers.